interesting thing, which is, I think, one of the most popular discussions today in business. As you can see from the title of the webinar, it is being competitive from incremental until strategic innovation. So it's a very interesting topic, and I hope everyone can stay until the very end of the event, and let's hope that everybody will have a good time. Yeah. Okay. So before we start, let me read Dr. Leo Aldianto's brief profile first. So Dr. Leo Aldianto has been a full-time lecturer at School of Business and Management, ITB, Bandung, Indonesia. And he's been teaching a plethora of different subjects like management of technological innovation and entrepreneurship, design thinking for innovation, management of product development, business model, new venture planning, new venture management and growth, and entrepreneurship dynamics. And Dr. Leo Aldianto received his PhD from ITB, from School of Business and Management in 2014. And Dr. Leo Aldianto has 2 different master's degrees, one from TSM Business School in the Netherlands. He obtained a master's degree in business administration, and another one from Delft University of Technology, the Netherlands. He received a Master of Science in Aeronautical Engineering, majoring in mechanical computation. So Dr. Leo Aldianto has quite the educational background and experience. So I hope that we can all learn from him today. Okay, so without further ado, Dr. Leo Aldianto, the time is yours. You are welcome to share your screen, and we can start with today's talk. Thank you, Dr. Leo.
Okay, thank you, Pak Andamar. Thank you for the nice introduction, and also good afternoon for everyone attending this event. First of all, I would like to check whether you can hear my voice clearly. Pak Andamar, can you hear my voice clearly?
It's very clear, Pak.
Okay,
very clear. Yeah.
Good then. Thank you. Thank you, Pak Andamar, for the nice introduction. So, just like Pak Andamar mentioned, basically I was an engineer, aeronautical engineer, working first in Bandung for Indonesian aerospace company, PT Dirgantara Indonesia in Bandung. So we make aircrafts, and I work initially pure as engineer, but then at the end, after I did my M.B.A, I work in the business side of the industry. And also, finally, I moved out from the aerospace company. I work for IT company doing marketing job, and I market and sold IT products such as silicon graphics workstation and EMC digital storage. You may have heard about 4 years ago, EMC merged with Dell to become Dell EMC, the biggest IT company. One thing I've learned from that experience, maybe you may have heard already from the video presentation in the beginning of the event, talking about when we market something, the most important thing is we know our customers. So we really provide something that our customers wants, that our customers needs. And also more importantly, that I have learned at that time, that you have to give the solutions. That's also in my presentation about innovation today. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that, giving the solutions, not only selling physical product such as digital storage. Remember, I've worked for company EMC. They provide digital storage actually initially. But when you sell digital storage, every customer easily compare your product with other companies' product. So they always say, Pak Leo, your disk costs, for example, $100 for 1 gigabyte. While IBM, Pak, sell it for $95. And then HP sell it for 97. There's only small difference. They always compare your products with other companies' product. So EMC, for example, saying, no, we are not selling this, but we are selling data management solutions. If you are a company working with a lot of data and you want your employees easily put in the data, easily retrieve the data, can work from anywhere using the data of the company, then EMC, we have good solution for you to do that. And then we say, of course, it will be working excellently using our disk, but you may use other people disk as well. You may use IBM hard disk, HP hard disk, something like that. But you can guess, once the customers really like our solutions, no one said, Pak, I love your solutions, but I want to use IBM disk. No one is doing that. Because then they are saying, okay, I like your solutions, please use the hardware, use the disk that you think will be the best platform to work with your solution. So that's two things I've learned from that experiences as marketer for IT products, really knowing your customers and provide solutions, not only provide one or two products, but complete offering the solution. So that will be also the very important guidance for you when seeing my presentation after this, where I'm going to focus on innovation. That's my discipline at this moment, my research. I'm doing research on innovations. My teaching subject is also on innovations, beside the topic about entrepreneurship. So let me start sharing my slides. Okay, another check. Can you see my slide?
Yes, Pak, very clearly, Pak.
Okay, good. Thank you. So first of all, of course, thank you for ISB, I3L School of Business, to invite me for this webinar to share with all of you, the young generation, about innovations, why we have to have these innovations, why we have to be competitive or to be leader in the business arena by doing innovations. That is my topic for today. And then a little bit detail, I'm going to discuss with you what the so-called incremental innovations, and also more importantly, actually what we want, actually strategic innovations. This both are good way to improve the performance of our company. However, if we can do strategic innovation, it will be much better, of course. I start with this situation now we are facing, the pandemic, COVID-19. You may have heard already. Every business is affected by this pandemic. Some company badly affected or very bad affected, just like here, tourism, aviation, my previous industry, automotive company, they are hit very badly by this pandemic. On the other side, you have several industries, several sectors that are getting some benefit due to the pandemic. You may have heard about several pharmaceutical company, medical supply, medical services company doing good business because of the pandemic, personal and healthcare industry, food processing and retail, ICT also, because nowadays, like what we are doing now, doing online webinar, the classes in the campus all over the world, doing online classes and so on. This ICT flourishing a lot during this pandemic. E-commerce, we have to buy everything via online nowadays. This two sides always. But in whatever side you are, whether you are badly hit here, like the automotive and transportation and tourism, or you are getting benefit from the situations, you still have to make innovations. Here is to capture all the opportunities on the side, and on the other side, you are expected to make some innovations to survive, or eventually to make a turnaround as well. So that's the situations we are facing. So we have to make innovations. And then just curiosity, when I prepare to speak in this webinar, I just checking innovation in the search engine Google. When I type in innovation, what comes out? So first of all, there's a lot of results talking about innovations, almost 2 billion here. And then give also quite good definition of innovations. We can see further in my presentation in more detail, but shortly, this very good definition in my opinions. When talking about innovation, we are talking about two things. We are talking about the process, the action of making innovation itself, and we are talking about the results of innovation, something new. Either it is a new method, a new product, a new idea, and so on. So a lot of things about innovation, and just by typing a simple word innovation, you will get some good definition about innovation as well. So definition of innovation, based on that, there are so many different kinds of innovations, but like I've said to you, more importantly, you remember it is about either process, the right hand side here, the process of making innovations, and typically it is represented by this funnel that you start with ideation, you create so many ideas about that solution you want to make, and then you evaluate and select the most potential ones. Finally, you really develop that and produce that and introduce or bring that to the market. Talking about innovation process. On the other hand, like I've told you from the Google search, we are talking about the results of innovation, something new. And then this chart explains to you three characteristics to be considered as innovations, the results. First, of course, it is to have some novelty. It is new. Second, relevant with the particular problems you are facing, organization facing, companies, even country facing, communities. So has to be relevant, answering the problem, answering the needs. And innovations, one requirement for innovation, it needs to be implemented, brought to the market, used by people, and people get benefit from that. So it has to be a success. Meaning the success, meaning it is implemented, used, people get benefit. Whether finally you get financial success or not, that's another question. Most company, of course, thinking about we should have financial success, financial profit as well. But innovation definitions don't explicitly ask you to have that financial profit. If somehow your innovation give benefits to people, improve the quality of life, or right a wrong situation, that is considered successful and considered as innovation. Of course, if you are a company, that particular requirement about financial outcomes plays a very important role as well. We cannot ignore that. All right. Innovations, this really talking about process and results, and this is also definitions of innovation I would like you to remember from our discussions this afternoon, that innovation is not only just a concept, not only just invention. You need that, you need concept, you need invention, something new technology, for example, internet is new technology. But then more importantly, how do you use that internet to create so many products, services, so that it is commercially exploited? Then you are talking about innovation. So please remember that conception, invention, but more importantly, commercialization. So, and then because of that, conception, invention, commercial exploitation, companies then challenge this. Companies have this challenge. First of all, they have to generate the knowledge, right? They have to generate the knowledge, the invention, the concept, and then really put that concept, put that invention into products and process. And finally, do all the necessary commercial activities to make that product adopted, used by the people. Are all companies doing this? Not all of them. Some of them let the generation of new knowledge to other institutions or other companies. For example, university, or they let some research institution to do the knowledge generation. They are focusing only on the other 2 points, to apply all those knowledge into product and services and bring it to the market commercialize. Sometimes even they let also the creation, the production of that product or services into some other companies. They are focusing on commercialization aspect. We may say the last point is just trader, for example, just seller of the product and so on. So, but to be complete, companies doing this, and I'm going to show you companies that being considered as the most innovative companies. They are doing all the 3 things. Okay, these are the most innovative companies I'm talking about. It is done by cooperation between this consultation company, Boston Consulting Group, in cooperation with several companies and other institutions, and they are talking, they are doing survey to 1,500 companies, executive in the companies, to assess all the companies in the 4 criteria, whether really all this executive thing that company making good innovations, the mindset of all the top executives, votes from all this executive in the industry, whether they are making some new disruption, some innovations that really change the playing field, how the business doing job, or maybe how customers doing or using the product or services. This disruption, like the very famous disruptions we may have heard is e-commerce. Just disrupt the you heard about the problems faced by these physical stores such as Matahari compared to all the e-commerce what we have now, Tokopedia, Shopee, and so on. Also about the transportations, the traditional taxis versus Gojek, Grab, Uber that we know. And then last point, they evaluate the so-called value creation. Remember, I've talked to you that we're really offering something for our customers, solving their problems. By having that survey, using this 4 criteria, then we have the top 50. I just make a screenshot. Some of the companies like here, you can see here, Apple is number 1. Alphabet is the group of Google. You know, you have heard about Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla. This the blue one, it is check. The blue one is considered technology company, the type of company. Orange here is the consumer goods, so Amazon is including in that groups. I will put Amazon maybe also in technology company. Nevertheless, they put it in consumer goods. Tesla is in the transportation, and then the yellow one is on healthcare and healthcare. Yes. So you can see all the companies we all have heard about. And one of the we heard a lot nowadays is Pfizer, right? Because this company is one of the COVID-19 vaccine producers. So we have heard a lot about Pfizer nowadays. The rest also, all this, your sneakers, your sport equipment will be produced by Adidas here. You use some mebels from IKEA. You drink Coca-Cola here. This morning, when we did shower, maybe we use some products from P&G. So all these products very known in the world. Thus, understandable that they are considered as part of the most innovative companies. However, the challenge is they are coming only from several countries. You can see here the small circles here indicating the countries of these companies: United States, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon. You have from Korea, Samsung, from Japan, Sony, from Germany, Adidas, and Bosch, also from Germany. Unfortunately, no company from Indonesia. That is our challenge. Next. So, types of innovations, I'm talking about all these, I'm showing here the companies, either they have some innovation in the production, how they make the products, the process of making the products, maybe some innovation on the technology itself, just like I've said to you, like internet, maybe new product or new service, sometimes also is management innovation or organizational innovation and business model innovation, sometimes combining all this kind of innovations. On the other side, people always say when talking about innovations, this characteristic incremental innovations, meaning just small innovations. I'm going to show you later, for example, cars. If you only change the lamp, the grill of the cars, a little bit styling, that's incremental innovation. Radical innovations when you start changing from the combustion engine that we have now to electric cars, electric vehicles, that quite radical. Open innovations, meaning that you collaborate throughout the process. Show you one more time the process here. Here, the process, whether you collaborate in the phase of ideation, or you collaborate selection, you collaborate in the production, or you collaborate bring it to the market, doesn't matter. That's whole project. You can make collaborations, and if you do that, it is called then you are applying open innovation approach. And then I've mentioned to you disruptive. Disruptive is the situation where you make the incumbent become irrelevant, just like the very famous example about Android that we are using now. Compare the incumbent several years ago. I don't know whether you still have heard about this company, Nokia. Okay, that's a very famous example about disruption. Okay, I've mentioned to you character of innovation. Then we are talking about the so-called Horizon 1, 2, and 3. Horizon 1 is you just improve a little bit, you focus on making innovation for your current customer. And then usually the innovation is incremental. For example, you just make improvement in your cars. Like I said, maybe change the lamps design back here, change the grill, change maybe a little bit the roof and so on. This small increments. But you do that because you want to make your current customers happier, because they want to have some improvement here and there. Every time you ask your customers, they want some improvement, you do that. However, in order to anticipate the futures, you need to make the so-called Horizon 3 innovations. It is really, you create some new viable options, some things that really maybe you don't think, or you don't realize that now, but maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 years down the road, you need that. Just like Tesla doing with electric vehicle. It's really anticipating the future. What Tesla doing compared to the other traditional cars, Tesla doing innovation in the so-called Horizon 3, creating some new. And then in the middle, you are creating some not only small improvement, but you kind of change the business model, so something like that. The example is what Apple is doing with iPod. MP3 player, just like iPod, Apple is not the first company making that product MP3. There are several other companies from Korea, Japan, and China making MP3 players before. However, Apple improved the design, this may be doing the Horizon 1 innovations. They improve the design, but more importantly, they improve how people get the music, just by introducing iTunes. That revolutionized how people buy the music itself. Then they are not only doing Horizon 1, they only add some new emerging business model Horizon 2. So that is, and then companies, to be complete, you are expected to have the whole portfolio of innovations. You may have some innovation, incremental. You may have some big innovations, Horizon 2, involving many various innovation, not only small improvement in your product. But you as company, you are required to think about, I need still to be exist in the future. So I need to anticipate what are the needs in the future. So Horizon 3. You may have heard already, all those companies here creating cars, they are already thinking about electric vehicles. All of them doing electric vehicles now. All the companies, the pharmaceutical companies, they are thinking about the future. Stem cell, for example, which I'm going to share with you later. So that's the strategic innovations that you are making. All the combination of this, when you really make your calculated, your really well thought portfolio about your innovations, you want some of my money I will put to make smaller innovation, some other with Horizon 2 innovation, and then I also think about innovation for the futures. You do that also with all the necessary things you have to do. It means you do this so-called strategic innovations. You really make these innovations to address the needs of people, to be aligned with your strategy. Then all this innovation actually concerning about the questions relating with the strategy. These three questions usually. You really have to know who are your customers, current customers, your tomorrow customers, and your future customers. What value they need, and then how you are going to deliver that. So innovation answering these three questions. And then sometimes people call it, because especially the Horizon 2 and Horizon 2, the risk is quite big. No guarantee that you will be successful. Sometimes you do it in the so-called experimentation mode, something. So some people ask, but what, how, why do you do that? Why do you have to think about strategic innovation? Why do you want to make innovation to become the first and so on? Why don't just follow? Because some study already showing that by doing the first mover activities, you are being the first. Of course, you will spend more money to create your product or services, but then you will have the opportunity to gain also higher profit as well. Compare if you just only follower the dash line in red here. Okay, initially you just have to spend smaller amount of money, but then because you are only follower, maybe you just reach the profit in smaller amount as well. Of course, there is always exception, just like I've told you. MP3 players from Apple. Apple is follower in that sense, but then they are first mover in the sense of iTunes, how people buy the music. So it's okay to start by following imitation, but then you need to make some other innovation. yourself. Okay. Now I'm going to start showing you several area of innovation activities that companies now focusing, starting from this innovation area that is called additive manufacturing, just using 3D printer. For example, now they are using 3D printer to make a bicycle. Only the wheel is not created, not produced using 3D printer. Other components of this bicycle is created using 3D printer. And also they start working this way. You may have heard about this before. They make the model of your foot and then with 3D printer and then making the mold for shoes, and then finally your shoes will be created individually customized using this. Before now, to make this mold is very expensive, so that the shoe companies think it is impossible to make mold for everyone. But in the future, when this 3D printer technology become cheaper, they said we are going to come to that situation where everyone can make their model of their foot, from which they are going to make the mold of the shoe, and then your shoes will be then created solely for you using this mold. So that's the area of additive manufacturing that they are using 3D printer going for the future. This is another examples of anticipating the future. SpaceX from Elon Musk, also the founder of Tesla, with the idea of traveling to the space. And then the technology they make here is the rocket here. In the past, the rocket, after launch, the rocket will be destroyed. It's very expensive. But then SpaceX think to make the rocket that after launch, the rocket will be landed safely somewhere, and then the rocket will be reused. So it is a very big reduction in the cost of making launch of the rocket. Another one, artificial intelligence. Why I show you this? I want you to recognize from my story about that there are some other technology there. I've told to you the 3D printer, the rocket, and so on. Not the artificial intelligence. The point is, companies or countries, they need trigger really to use to implement that particular technology to make innovation in that area. In the past, I don't know whether you have heard about the so-called Sputnik moment. Sputnik is the first spacecraft launched by Russian in 1957, which triggered the reaction of United States of America to make their space program as well. And then after that, they create NASA that we know now to make all this space program until they land to the moon and so on. It is because initially Russia sent that Sputnik to the space. The same with artificial intelligence in China. This is KG. This young man is the world champion of the board game Go. The board game Go, it is 19 by 19 boxes here. 19 by 19 boxes. So many possibilities where you play, you want to encircle the stone of other players. If you are play with white, you want to encircle the black stones. So in the past, before 2017, the photos I'm showing you was the photos from 2017. Before that, this really a challenge for AI company, whether they can beat human in the game of Go, because the possibilities to put the stones is so big. And then initially they said, no, even artificial intelligence cannot beat human being in the Go match, in the Go game. But in 2017, AlphaGo, there's the AlphaGo from Google making the artificial intelligence. This artificial intelligence beat KG, the so-called world champion of Go. And then from that moment, China realized, oh, AI is something really for the future. Because AI has proven that they can beat human being in Go game. So since that time, 2017, there are so many programs in China, so many research, product development, and so on, from government, universities, companies, focusing on artificial intelligence. And then since that time, there are so many products coming from China about artificial intelligence. One of the example is this news, customized news, Tautio, valued at 20 billion, because they can really make the news customized to you, your interest and so on. This company, fashion companies, also using AI to personalize, to customize their offer. So they send packets of fashions to customers. Of course, initially when you become members, you have to answer some questions, so they know about you, they guess what you like in fashion. However, they said they send you a set of fashion. If you don't like it, you just send it back, no cost to you. All the cost is paid by the companies. But if you like, then you can keep the fashions. Katrina Lake said initially, number of rejection is quite high, but every time you reject, they put that again in their database. They do all this artificial intelligence activity, machine learning, deep learning. So in the longer time, they know you even better. So Katrina Lake said, nowadays the number of rejections reduce and reduce. So people start, oh, I like this clothes, I keep it and pay. So using artificial intelligence. And then, of course, the discussion is whether we are all will be replaced by artificial intelligence, whether we are all will be replaced by robots and so on. So there are some study about that, and then they are saying some jobs still safe here in this quadrant. There's really the job that need more social, and then high dexterity. I mean, dexterity is the skills of human to do that. High dexterity. There's elderly home caretaker, physical therapist, hairstylist is still safe, they said. And the other extreme is some job which is asocial. You don't have really to have human relations to do that job. And the dexterity, there's really the human skills to do that job is not that high. All that kind of job are on danger, they are saying. The other two is about in the middle, the human veneer and the slow creep, it is in the middle. However, I always see we are going to have balance, in my opinion. We are going to have balance between some jobs that may be replaced by the AI, but because we are humans still with human interactions, there are still jobs that we can do as humans as well. This is maybe interesting for you, in the biomanagement area. This how we need to feed the world with ever increasing number of populations, and then stem cells is one of the area that offer opportunity to solve the problem of feeding the people in the world. So initially in 2012, they are coming with the very first hamburger made from stem cell. Here, this they proved this in London in 2012. And then nowadays, there are so many companies try to use stem cell to create food, to create meal. This company in Singapore, I need to move my window so I can see the name. Shock Meats company in Singapore, they make their shrimps from stem cells. And then at this moment, of course, it is quite expensive still to make one portion of this shrimp dumpling. Costs still hundreds of dollars, but she believes that in near future, maybe even within 3 years, she said, they will be able to create this shrimp dumplings with the cost in the range of using the organic shrimp as we know at this moment. So a lot of companies doing the job to create food or meals using stem cells. And of course, you may know stem cells used a lot for medicines and also for cosmetics. Okay, one of the stem cell research done also by Kalbe, right? Kalbe Pharma initiate Stem Cell and Cancer Institute several years ago, and when I did my research on innovation for my doctoral degree, I did that in Kalbe Pharma in the Stem Cell and Cancer Institute. That's why I was interested to all this development and show you this development in stem cell research. Okay, another important point relevant to you also in the life sciences, in the bio area is the so-called circular economy. And then I would just want to touch a little bit with you here, to share a little bit with you here about the circular economy, that is about recycling, waste processing, reduction of pollution, green issues, but also it is about how we use all the resource in efficient way. We prevent waste, not only processing waste, but prevent waste, and then the circular process of use and reuse, and all about the need of material and the need of all the sorting process in order to make our companies can still achieve economic benefits, but also environmental and social benefits. And in order to do that, we need to do all the points mentioned here, that the business model need also to be circular. We need to design our products, our process and technologies that support the circular economy. For example, we make our product in such way that it is not create too much waste and so on. It is the challenge for all of us. And then it is the future challenge. Still, everyone going to these directions. You also need to do that as well. I have mentioned to you about AI in China, and then this point actually next I want to discuss about digital business. But then I want you to be aware about the difference between only making digitalization. It means we only add some digital components, but still maintaining what we are doing. For example, now I'm university. We have online class nowadays, but if we only move the class from physical class in campus to now the class in online, but then no other things we have done. For example, we are not improving all our digital material so that students can work also digitally and so on, but we still work traditional, like we only have lectures like this using Zoom, using digital, and then you create your homework, and then you send email. It is only digitizing. You only make some digital, but the way you do is still about the same. However, if you really know you are having online class, but you are also having some materials, platform where all the exchange of materials can be done in that way, all the communication, and then data repository, retrieve data, and so on. All you do that with digital, then maybe you do the so-called digitalizing digital university. Not only digitizing, only added some new way of digital. So that's very important. I want you to pay attention by using this example. So digital, not only through digital, but it is only the example digital as clear example we can use. But then actually innovation, actually, in order to make it successful, it need really to be adopted, used by people, and then sometimes it's adapted, you adjust a little bit and so on, but it need to be used. Then this is a good example about how in China they really maximize the use of digital. Thus you can see here even the beggars use digital now. They have this QR code. This because people now use a lot of this mobile payment, e-money, and so on. People doesn't have change to give to all these beggars, so they create then QR code so you can just scan and still can give some change, and then the change even bigger than usually you give quarter, maybe quarter, or maybe $1, one, or what is in China, 1 yuan, 1 renminbi. Now it becomes higher because maybe the smaller amount that you can transfer from QR code is higher and so on. So it is very important really to adopt, to change the way you operate, to change the way you live and so on. And then it is only can be done if the ecosystem is really supporting you to do that. And China proves to be a company that able to do that. For example, just for comparison for you, you know, Apple also make this payment application, Apple Pay. Earlier, Apple make it in 2014. China make WeChat Pay. This all the users of this very famous Tencent e-commerce market, Tencent, all users using the application WeChat. And then WeChat Pay, they only start 1 year after Apple Pay. They start in 2015. And then in 2018, they measure Apple Pay has about 1 billion transactions a month. While sorry? Okay. While WeChat Pay is about 1.2 billion transactions a day. Can you imagine? So they adopt the digital solution quite massive in China. And it can be shown actually also the adoption of innovations can be seen in this graph showing the change in the GDP per capita of 3 countries, India, Indonesia, and China. In 1992, in 1990, you can see the GDP per capita, Indonesia is higher between the 3 countries in 1990. But then in 2020, China exponential increase exponentially to 10,500. Indonesia is about 3,900, and India 1,900. So the slower. It is achieved, and among others, because they have all the ecosystems really to increase the adoption of innovations. They change how they do, and they want to adopt all the newness and so on. But like I said to you, not only digitizing, but you really have to make your business digital. Philips, for example, oftenly described as company really work on digitizing, and then also, but then the basic question is, you want to be digital company, but then in what area you want to focus? And then Philips is company who are focusing on the so-called health care area nowadays. Thus they are move away from the initial company known as lighting bulb company, focusing on manufacturing, production of the products, and distribution of that product, even though it is electronics and so on. They are focusing now on giving solutions to healthcare. So that is, and then doing all that with the digital technology, many of them. There's ventilator, for example. Many companies create ventilator, but Philips created that already from a long time ago. But now with this situation of COVID-19, they improve the ventilator, they put some other sensors so that all the data of the patients can be transferred using these sensors, wireless to the monitoring place, so they don't have to be near the patients and so on. So that is really Philips started answering the questions, what I want to make, what is the reason for my existence here in the world. Just you start with that, what I'm going to make, what I'm going to offer, and then you do that with digital and so on, everything, and then your offering will be good, complete. But almost no use if you just doing your business as usual. Now I have this product, but then now I'm using digital, for example. I just add some digital component, but you do not change really your product. What is your offering? You are not aligning with the current needs. It is almost no use for some people. The second, komatsu, you can hear all companies who make this heavy equipment for construction, because they are also transforming from only giving this equipment for constructions to what company who create smart construction. They create this workplace for all those companies do constructions to have smart construction facilities with all necessary sensors, data, and so on. They use this IoT, they use sensors, they use data management, and so on to make it construction facilities a safer place, smart place, and then all those companies who make constructions, they can do the construction in shorter time, in better quality, and so on. And Komatsu provides that equipment is only one of the component of their offering. So that is very important. You need to adjust this. If they are just making equipment and trying making equipment, what can do a lot with digital, but then they are now offering not making construction equipment, but helping you creating your smart contracts construction. Just like I told you in the beginning with the EMC digital storage company. We are not selling this, but we are selling the solution for you about data. Okay. Having said that, before I close my presentation, I want to show you this strategy of one hospital in the United States, Mayo Clinic, to make innovations, the strategic innovations. Because in the past, they're only known as a hospital very good in handling the so-called tertiary and quaternary treatments, those difficult diseases, complex diseases, they are very good on that, very well known. And then one moment they are faced by the situation whether they are going to focus still there, improve a little bit, incremental, improve every time how they manage this quaternary and tertiary treatments, or they want to go look for some other possible innovations. And then they finally doing the last one. They want to make some other innovations, not only focusing on what they are doing now. And then they create this Mayo Clinic Center for Innovation in order to help them doing that. And then they said, we have to think about innovation to make innovations, the whole project, Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3. And we want to make that based on this so-called platform. Of course, the first platform is Mayo Practice, where they make this traditional treatment for all the diseases. They are already good, and that still you need to make that still innovation in that area. But they said we also need to in the current situation and in the future we make all the care connected. We use all the technology, IoT, internet, digital technology. And also they said we are not only working after people get sick, but we want to prevent people get sick. So health and well-being. Before you are sick, they are creating some about nutrition, about some solutions to help people stay healthy. And then, of course, they said we are also creating many ways to make innovation itself. Because they make this specific unit to focus on the process of innovation, how to improve, how to increase the innovation. And then they said, in order to support all those programs in these 4 platforms, we need to have our core competence. And then they said, of course, we start with technology because we are a technology company. We need technology to help people in this area, healthcare and well-being. But remember, because innovation has to be commercialized, we need new venture and business development. And they said also from the experience, we need to communicate well and to maintain the knowledge in the company, in the hospital. So we need to have knowledge management competence as well. And last point, they said, we need to have really labs to support all this new development up there. So for the current practice, for example, the Mayo practice, current practice, they have the so-called outpatient lab. So the polyclinics, the rooms, how people starting from coming to that building, waiting for being treated, and then they got consultation with doctor and so on. All the process they have the labs, exactly the real life lab, and then they learn what are the problems, what can they improve, and so on. And also, for example, to do this area of health and well-being, they make the so-called healthy living labs in order to create many products and services that really can be later implemented the health and well-being. So that's what I want to share with you. This is just theoretical background in order to support that to make really your products successful to be brought to the market. You need to pay attention to both side technological viability and commercial viability, just like they are doing here, technology, but then you need to have also some business aspect and eventually also communicate and management. All right, last point. Just want to share with you what do we really need to make innovations is a good way in the countries. In this case, we of course we want to have good innovation in Indonesia as well. So we need to have this education and training in new technologies. All the STEMs, all of you who have studied bio technology, or you studied biomedicine or whatever. I studied at the time aerospace engineering. We still need that as basic. We have to be able to learn about new technology, use of the new technology. But then after that, we need to develop the culture of innovation and creativity, including, remember my points, one of my points, including adoption of all that innovation. Okay, this, and then of course some incentive for the companies to do innovation, tax incentive, develop entrepreneurship, join research, and this survey is in European level, but in our case is then in ASEAN level. For example, I listened to the video of I3L doing the cooperation with Vietnam, for example, Calbis International with Vietnam. That's what we should do. Very good. And then, of course, the last point to involve also financial companies, venture capital companies to support. All right, just the food for thought last time. Possibility for the future. This including all of you here, you may support to make innovation in one of the 6 areas. Innovation because the industry is shifting now due to the pandemic. There are some new regulations, so we can also make some innovation because of that. Consumer behavior also changing now, so we have also need to make innovation to address that. Maybe even societal change nowadays, how we meet, how we visit each other will be different. So you have to create some new innovation to address that. New resources, new assets, new technology may be available. This is only food for thought for you. That a lot of possibility, a lot of opportunity for us to make innovation. Good, Pak Andamar, I conclude my presentation there. This really I would like to discuss with you. If you have some questions, some comments, I really love to discuss further.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Leo, for the very insightful presentation. I think everybody here can take a lot of things out of those slides that Pat Leo has presented. And yeah, I think a lot of it would really help us in the future for whenever we need to come up with innovations and like how to strategize with those innovations. I think it's really insightful and really helpful for us here at I3L to yeah, to have this discussion with you today, Pak Leo. Okay, so everyone, if you have questions, you can write your questions down here in the chat box. Okay, all right. So we have one question here from Yash. Okay, all right, very good. So now, first question from Yash. Good afternoon, Sir Leo, and thank you so much for your presentation and knowledge on innovation. I want to ask how best to differentiate between good innovations and bad innovations before introducing those innovations into the market.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Yas. The questions. Let me say this way first. Go back. I always go back to my previous slide. Definition of innovation. It has to be novel. There's something new, of course. We make innovation, and relevant. That's the first two, very important. It is relevant, meaning it is solving certain problems, or it is helping you to fulfill what do you want or what the customers want, something like that. Thus it is relevant. Thus you make something not because you like it to make, but because you are going to make that innovations that will be useful to others. So, and then of course, like I said, the third one, success. Companies always think in success in terms of profit, financial profit, but I think we as innovator, we need to see it in broader version that it has to be used by people, just getting to the market, just not only staying in our lab, but really go to the market, people use that, people get benefits, people better. For example, with vaccine, we are preventing us from catching the virus and so on. This has that is success. Okay. Now, then later maybe you can explain to me what do you mean for exactly by good innovation and bad innovations. But then, in my opinion, if you fulfill that requirement already, and then when you are doing the process, one of the process you select from those so many innovation options, you select which innovation is very relevant, maybe very needed by people, then usually the innovations, in my opinions, will be good. But then, of course, there are maybe some use of the innovations that is not really good. I don't know whether you meant that way or you meant by good and bad innovation as maybe some innovations that really successful or innovation that are not successful. Okay, yes, which one you mean by good and bad innovation, whether it is successful and not, or whether finally the innovations is used in good way and used in bad way? Which one? Yes, before I continue.
Okay, Yash, you can answer Pak Leo's question. Hello, Yash, are you there?
Hello. Yes, I'm there. If you don't mind me asking in the microphone, it means that good innovation, as you told, innovation that is relevant and helps to solve a lot of people in that given market, and bad innovation that doesn't stick the landing and thus is not relevant enough to solve people's problems. The thing that makes innovation difficult for me to come up with is that I wasn't able to know what are those innovations that is relevant enough for me to use. And maybe even if I have an idea that is relevant, I may not have the resources to know, for example, what are the people's possible opinions on it, what are the outcomes of that idea, of that innovation in the short term and long term, and also do I have enough resources to be able to make that innovation to life and make it into either a product or service. but that's on a smaller market, a smaller business, I meant. So how do you be able to adapt that?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. Thank you for more explanations. Now I get better understanding about your questions. Right. That is yes. That is then one of the very important issue during the process of innovation, the so-called selection. Remember selection. What initially you have so many ideas. We are talking now about we in the companies. We have so many ideas on innovation, so many problems that we can solve with the innovations. And then you have this very important step, selecting the most potential innovation proposals from all the innovations proposals we get. Then you do that in that sense. Yes, there are so many details, so many tools to do that. You can do the so-called evaluating the potential of that innovations to the people, whether it is really will help people a lot or just help people slightly. That is one. Compare with the ability, like you said, the resources, the ability of your company doing that. Whether you are really able to do that or you have to improve your capability because you are not really good yet in making that. That is one. You have also evaluating about the so-called technology risk versus market risk. Whether, like I said to you, the technology is whether it is proven or the technology is just new technology, and the market, either the market is ready for us, meaning not many competitors yet, no red oceans, but it is now in the area of blue ocean, something like that. There are several tools, several points that you have to do as company to evaluate all the potential, all the proposal innovations, which may be very potential to your company, this in line with what your company can do, but also in line with what really market needs, what really the market situation will support. So there are some details about that. Some specific methods to do that. Yes, I believe when you Google or when you later take some classes in the biomanagement program, mastering biomanagement program, you will see that tools, that methods one more time. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Leo. Yash, I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So, yes. Okay. Our pleasure, Yash. Okay. Thank you. All right. So, we're still open for questions, guys. If you have questions, just use the chat box, and then we'll go through the questions one by one. Yeah. Okay. There are a lot of participants here today, but we've only gotten one question so far. Okay, guys, come on. We still have time. Yeah. Okay. We'll be here until 3 o'clock, and while Pak Leo is here, guys, come on. Ask Pak Leo as many questions as you could before Pak Leo leaves. Yeah. Okay. So all right. If you would like to use the microphone, that's okay too. That's fine. So you don't need to use the chat box. Yeah. Okay. All right. So okay. Any other questions, guys? If there are no questions, I'm going to ask Pak Leo a question. Come on, guys.
Please, Pak Anda. Please.
Okay, thank you, Pak Leo. Okay, so Pak Leo, I actually have a similar question to Yasha's question. Well, say we already have this this innovation which has been used for quite some time now by the public. Earlier you were talking about increments, or like innovating based on like what we have already, and see if we can like improve our product, so to speak. Now, I also have a similar question, Pa. How do you well, it's because like when we're talking about increments, like the research that is put into that brainstorming would be different, right? How do we determine, how do we differentiate between doing bad increments and good increments? Hello? Yes.
Okay, Pak Andamar. I just got message in my screen that my connection unstable. But can you still hear my voice, Pak?
Yes, yeah. It's very clear, Pak.
Okay, good. All right. This the question is first. The question is I was talking about this innovation portfolio that companies usually have to have some innovation in the so-called incremental. Just you improve a little bit, and then it is usually because you are trying to please your current customers. Because, for example, we have this mobile phone. Your product is mobile phone, for example. Then you get always requests from your customers. Oh, this feature need to be adjust, or you have to add this feature so that your mobile phone become better. So then you try to do that by improving your mobile phone little by little, the so-called incremental innovation. Okay, that is one. And then, like I said, sometimes companies, they want to make more significant innovation by adding not only just simple product adjustment, but they add some, just like example of Apple with iPod. They adjust how the people can buy the music. They have this so-called platform innovation by making so many additional innovation on that. And then the very difficult innovations, when you try to really make something new, you really need to make something new, very different innovation. Just like Apple also try to make now Apple car, for example. That's really different. You know that. And Sony also, if you know Sony, electronic companies, Sony also try now to make car, because they are all believe that in the future, car is more electronic products than only mechanical products. Okay, so that's first. Companies thinking that way. And then all this research about innovation saying, you as company, you need to have all. Pak Andamar and all of you here in this webinar event today. Companies have to have all. You need to have incremental innovation, because then you that's your bread, daily bread, right? You please your current customers. You need to do that. You need to improve your product to please your current customers. This, you need to do that. And then, but you need to anticipate the future. So you need also to think about the horizon 3. So that's the now. And when Pak Andaman said, when we are focusing on the incremental, can we distinct between maybe some of them are good, some of them are bad, something like that? Then it is like I said, you do that in your evaluation, whether by adding this really helping your customer, or by adding that small thing, whether okay, maybe it is good for your customers, but in order to add that, you really need to invest very expensive machine, for example, whether you want to do that. So that's all you are thinking. In my opinion, it's not really about whether it is bad or good, but whether it is really worth it to be done with all the value that your customers will have. You compare it with all the effort, the cost we as company has to make to do that. When it is matched, we'll do. Okay. The more dangerous, Pak Andamar and the rest of you, if we are too focused on creating this incremental, so that we forget to anticipate the future, then we can be the so-called, we can be disrupt, just like Nokia. Nokia keep improving their mobile phone, the previous one, keep improving, but still using the existing technology, operating system, and so on. And then they forget to anticipate the future. They forget to look to this newcomer Android. They didn't think this Android is important. They didn't think Android is a potential competitor to them. They are so busy doing the incremental innovation to make their Nokia phone better and better. Of course, it is got better, but then it turns out that Android has some other features that more in line with the needs of customers in terminology with data and so on, data that we are now nowadays, the mobile phone, all mobile phone having Android or iOS from Apple, something like that. So that is my point, Pak Andamar. More that the danger is if we are too focused on our only incremental innovations, focusing on our current customers, we forgot about some other customers that maybe needed also our product, our new product, that we really need to make some new innovation, strategic innovations. That's the point, Pak Andamar.
I see. So it's a matter of like where we put our focus on. Like if we focus too much on doing these different incremental innovations, we would be left behind, ya, Pak, ya?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So, all right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pak Leo, for your answer. We have another question here, Pak. This is from Joseph. Okay. Hello, Sir Leo. Regarding idea validation, would you recommend a third party for fresh perspective despite risk of idea theft, or to remain internal but risk the unforeseen perspective that could be shortcomings of the idea?
Yes, thank you, Joseph, for the questions. Indeed, the dilemma, Joseph, whether you want to include some third party so that you get a complete perspective, you get there, but with the risk of your idea being stolen, the theft and so on. So indeed, that is dilemma. I work in the companies I work in two kind of industry. Because I only know a little bit about the pharmaceutical companies because I did my research in Kalbe Stem Cell and Cancer Institute, but most of my experience working in the aerospace industry and IT industry. In those industry, aerospace and IT, we have some area that we do not want others to work together with us. In the aerospace industry, for example, it is about the aerodynamic data of the wing. The aerodynamic data, very you have some theoretical calculation. you have some wind tunnel test results, you have that. And then every aircraft, if we see the aircraft out there, the Boeing, the Airbus aircraft, they may look the same, right? They may look similar, the wings and so on. But inside that, how does really the surface of the wing really creates the lift, very different. And that is very secret of companies. We are not working together making that. However, some other aspects besides that, just how we control the movement of the aircraft, how we use the electronics, the engine, and so on, we cooperate. We open it to others to give ideas and so on, because we know that is very acceptable for people to cooperate. Of course, even doing the cooperation, we always work with all these NDA, non-disclosure agreement, some secret arrangement, and so on. Always we play safe by making so many legal step, legal aspect, so that people cannot easily do all the negative things and so on. But in principle, we cooperate in that area. The same as in IT. The same in IT. Some, if you are hardware company, some core of that products, we do it ourselves. We never work with others. But then some other components, we ask from others to complete. We ask some others to do the design together. We ask opinion or advice from other companies and so on. That's okay. Software also. Software, there are the core of the software that we are protecting for ourselves, but then we always give some, how do you call it, interface, so that other software or other solution can be attached to our software to make our software even more complete, bigger. That's the situation in aircraft and IT. Now, like I said, I don't know too many about the bio industry or pharmaceutical companies, whether they do the same like that. But Unilever and P&G, for example, the fast-moving goods companies. There's P&G making all these soaps, shampoo, 10 dentist solution, all these solutions. We know that P&G, for example, 50% of their products, at least, are the results from co-creations. They work together with others. So in that industry, as MCG, learning from P&G experience, I think they are, just like yourself, they are working a lot with third party. And then medicine company, I'm sure when they make this so-called new molecular for new medicine, then they do them themselves. But once that it is being patented, they are protected already. And then in order to make that medicines for mass production and to be sold further, they may cooperate with others also. So the point is whether you will look for cooperation with others, sometimes even co-creation with others, for things that you in your industry it is acceptable. But for some others, just like in the pharmaceutical company creating the new molecular, in aircraft industry, the new aerodynamic characteristic of a wing, or in the IT, the core of the product, we do it ourselves, in my opinion. I hope that answer your question, Joseph.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Leo. Okay, very good. Excellent. Thank you, Joseph. Okay. We still have about 14 minutes, everyone. If you still have questions, now it's your time. We see some Master in Biomanagement students here today. We have Adisti, Alberti. If you have questions, maybe questions that you can't ask in class, in Pak Leo's class, you can ask them now. All right, so, okay. Do we have more questions, guys? You can also use the microphone if you'd like to ask Pak Leo through microphone. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, while we wait, maybe from Pak Gabriel. Pak Gabriel, can we distribute the attendance form now?
Okay, Pak Dharma.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. All right, so, okay, so we still have 12 minutes, everyone. Okay, now this is the attendance list. So you can click on the link and please fill in the evaluation form. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Okay, it's there. Yeah, okay, all right. Now, there's a follow-up question by Joseph Pa. A follow-up question. Is it better to beat competitors in go-to-market or observe competitors to better improve the product? Thank you in advance.
Okay. Both are happening, Joseph. Both are happening. There are some products, some companies that are very successful because they are the first mover. Example of it maybe like I would say all the new medicine companies. If you have new medicines, right? If you make the new medicines, then you will be useful because you are the first mover. You make first that medicine. Then others cannot, because of the patent. Others cannot make the same medicines. They only can wait until the patent is expired, maybe in 20 years after the patent is issued. However, you have also some situation where follower, because they see what happens and they just wait, because as first mover, Joseph, you are also responsible to educate your customers, because it is now first mover. You have to educate. You have to have more effort to make people know about the product, and then they are willing to use the product. While if you are follower, you just go with the ride, go with the wave, because it is already the first mover already do all the job to educate the people about the product and so on. You just make some improvement, then you become better. Some examples I've mentioned to you about iPod versus all the initial MP3 players, and also in the credit card company, American Express is one of the initial, not even some other company more earlier, but American Express also one of the earlier. But then, who are the biggers? Visa and Master. They are follower. Visa and Mastercard. They are follower. But then, people already familiar with the credit card and so on, because the first mover already educate the market. They improve a little bit the product, maybe. Then they become more successful, the Visa and the Mastercard. So I was looking for the third examples. I cannot come to that examples now, but that's just to give you understanding or examples that both possible. There's researchers, professionals, people doing innovations. They are all different in the answer. They said some of them said, of course, because they are seeing more the first mover becoming successful. They say you have to be first mover. But then some others, due to the difficulty of first mover, educate, building all the necessary network infrastructure and so on, they are saying better become follower, and then you just make differentiations, then you may become better than the first mover. So I cannot say which one is better, Joseph. My experience in the industry I've been working for, both also happening.
Okay.
So I hope that gives you some idea, Joseph.
Okay, thank you, Pak Leo. Okay, thank you, Joseph, for the question. Okay, so one last question. This is another follow-up question, Pak Leo. This is from Yash. This is another. There's another one from Yash. He said, "Is it a good idea for companies to collaborate with different companies to create different innovations on a regular or bi-monthly basis?"
Yes, yes. One of the thing in the innovations, like I said to you, is the innovation process. How we are making these innovations. In the very past, companies tend to work alone. They make the innovation themselves and so on. And then we call it, that is the first and the second generation of the first, second, third generations of innovation process. But then the fourth generation, for example, talking more about the collaborative aspect. Really, then it is then companies required to work together to make innovation. There's even in the pharmaceutical companies, I think I've read also some of those big pharmaceutical companies work together to create new medicine, for example. Aircraft always work together to make aircraft. We always work together nowadays. We work together with our customers. We work together with the engine manufacturer. We work together with the electronics manufacturer, all the electronics in the aircraft. Thus, we have to work together with them. Landing gear, for example, we have to work together with the landing gear companies. Sometimes we also work together with other aircraft production for them to support several components, because then there are a lot of components. So nowadays it is even in my opinions, looking to the situations nowadays, it is, I wouldn't say mandatory, but it is regular, or it is acceptable, or it is expected that companies cooperate together to make the innovations. That's why the terminology open innovation, yes, is a very popular terminology nowadays, where people start to people expected to cooperate together to make innovation. So yes, your questions, short answer, yes, that's the norm. I would say that's the norm for today's co-creation, collaboration. That's the norm for today's.
Okay,
Company like Tesla, yes, company like Tesla, they work with several partners to offer to make that Tesla car.
Okay, thank you, Pak Leo, for the answer. Okay, I think we should close our Q&A session. Yash said, I didn't really know that about Tesla.
Yes, yes, please. If you Google after this and see the keyword Tesla and collaboration, you see that there are several.
Okay, all right, very good. Thank you, Yash. Thank you, Pak Leo. Okay, so I think that last question would conclude our workshop, our webinar for today. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Leo Aldianto, for your time and the really, really insightful discussion. And I hope everyone had a really good time, and I hope we can learn a lot from today's webinar. Okay, so on behalf of MBM and ISP, I would like to say thank you to all participants, and I will give the event back to Pak Gabriel. Thank you.
Okay, I think once again, thank you for Dr. Leo for your insightful and inspirational, thoughtful and knowledge that you give up to us today, and also to all of the attendants in this webinar. I'm really appreciate you guys want to register and also come to our webinar. Stay healthy and stay safe, everyone, and have a nice weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Leo.
See you, Pak Leo.
See you, Pak.
Thank you, Pak Leo. Thank you, Sir Randamar. Thank you, Pak Gabriel.
Okay, thank you.
Adi.
Andamar, Pak Gabriel, thank you so much. See you, Pak.
See you,
Thank
Pak
you.
Leo.
See you,
Thank
Pak.
you.